Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're enjoying the content, throw us a thumbs up. It really helps and we really do appreciate it. We're going to reassemble the 660, I hope. Hopefully you watched the last two videos. If not, I welcome you to watch them. We done a tear down, and I shown what exactly was done to the saw. And if anyone's wondering if I didn't muffler mod it, in the first video I showed it. Already been muffler modded, saw had a couple different cylinders on it, so that's one part of it. We didn't have to do baffle had already been taken out. We already had a aftermarket cover on the front of it. Hopefully I can get this to go on easy enough. I couldn't find a larger ring compressor that I actually needed. Alright guys, I had to pause you and get a bigger ring compressor. I've already got the intake boot on the cylinder, and I am running a gasket, but I did put a little moto seal on each side of that gasket in hopes that it gets our squish just a little looser than where it was at. It was at 18 thou in the tightest spot near the edge of the squish band. And I don't mean out on the like very edge where the piston rolls over, but this is going to be interesting to get on with the handlebar on. Let's roll that down some. There we go. And the intake boot. I think it's going to make for a fun time. Not bad at all. Right on there. If I can get my ring compressor back out, we're good to go. A lot of the cylinders that have the skirt that hangs down, you can kind of pinch the rings and get them to go right in, but if they have a flat base like that, it's a nightmare. I did drop the bottom ring. I'm only running the top ring on this, mainly due to how large that exhaust port is, and the lower ring dropping down below it so far. And it is a little bit of a performance boost. It is just a little bit less parasitic drag, probably nothing you'd ever notice, but it doesn't hurt a thing either. It's not going to make the saw not last any longer, if that makes sense. So what we need to do now is see if we can roll that up, and we need to drop our bolts in and be careful about it to where we don't drop them down in the case or down in, because you'll never work those in once you get that cylinder down, pushed down on there. Somebody probably say I'm wrong, prove me wrong on that, but if they can, my hat's off to you. I've had to do it before, like in the back, but use like a pin magnet or something, some hemostats maybe to work them in, but in my luck this one will. And right now is a good time to push that intake boot down in. The 660 intake boots are pretty easy to get to go in, but some of them you about have to dang wrap a piece of rope around and choke them down, if that makes sense to you at all. Alright guys, we're going to torque her down, just crisscross, kind of like if you're bolting a head on anything else. Those bolts have like, they're kind of like the OE bolts, have little grooves or notches on the head, and it's kind of like its own method of like a lock washer. I ain't gonna say they can't back loose, but it's highly unlikely. We got a catch somewhere. That BDC, that's not good. That's something you will run into on the big bores. Sometimes I have had to take them all the way back apart and trim that gasket, but hell, I've had it together several times. We'll tighten the cylinder back down with the BDC now and hope we don't have anything hitting. What is that gasket might have moved just a little bit. It was barely catching that piston. We don't want anything in the bottom of the saw like clearance of itself, because we just done a lot of work. Believe it or not, it took a little longer to do this. When I got to the port work itself, wasn't really, you know, that long, but the epoxy work and dialing in the timing on that, smooth as can be now. Now what I want to do is push this intake boot all the way on through and get it popped into place. It's close to it. We're getting close. So now's a good time to put your intake boot ring back on. Now let's see, there's two little like notches in that boot. Yeah, get that ring pushed in. There is what that looks like together. We're going to go ahead and slide the carb in. Okay, guys, so we're going to slide the carburetor in. Make sure your fuel line's sticking down there where it should be. Alright. You should be able to come through the side over here and get your linkage on. You might have to get a little pair of pliers or something sometimes, but in most cases you can work it in there. It's that simple. You take your fuel line. I know my hands get in the way sometimes. Push it back on. Alright guys, so next, before I forget about it, I seen this little thing laying here. We're going to put that in. That is your grommet for your decomp. What I do next is put this grommet in. It's kind of self-explanatory how it goes, but keeps the fines out of there. You don't necessarily have to have it, I guess, but it sure makes it a whole lot easier to tune. And you want to make sure you got your grommet here. Hopefully we're in frame still. Yeah, we look good. And we want to put this on. You'll feel it kind of seed into that upper grommet. And if memory serves me right, it goes like so. But I'm going to grab the air filter just to make 100% sure. It will go on the other way. Yeah, we're good. We'll go on the other way. And you'll have it upside down. And I don't think the air filter will go on then, if memory serves me correctly. And I took this apart with the impact. I don't really like going back together with an impact. Maybe if you had one set down on low, I guess. My little 12 volt, it has different settings I can set it on. I've put a lot back together with it, but I think the wife's got that in the house right now. You want them pretty snug. You don't want to break them off either, but I'm thinking next we need to get this contraption here off. We'll go ahead and put the clutch back on next. I had thoughts taking a wire brush to that thing and cleaning it up, but whatever, it just shows she's been worked. Could probably put an 8 tooth on that if we wanted to, but with that 96 roof, we're just going to leave the 7 on it and let it eat. And don't do that. Yes, I've really got that much grip strength. I can push a E-clip in Some of them I can't, but a lot of them I can pop it in with my fingers. It's just from doing a lot of heavy deadlifts in the gym over the years. Let's go ahead and do the recoil next. I don't know if you want to make sure you plug wire. You can see that one's been taped back up. I should probably pull it off. And I think it does have heat shrink under that tape. I've just got it kind of double insulated, I guess. Nothing wrong with electrical tape. Electrical tape is electrical tape for a reason. I probably just took you guys out of the frame, but it'll be okay. Nah, you're still good. Long bolt up top through the handle for your chain brake, flag, whatever you want to call it. Then we have some M4s that go in the cover itself. I've got a whole tray of M6 screws over here. Interesting. I should have got my screws ready off camera. I normally do that. Looks like the right ones. Let's hope so. Running out of screws. There really ain't a lot to these saws. I love working on them. Some people hate steels. I'm not that guy that hates them. I love working on them. If everything goes right. Tell those have been Loctited before, still have Loctite on them. And if you missed the other videos, 2 videos back on my, you go to my page and click videos and it'll take you to all the recent videos. I know most people know that, but a lot of people probably don't. But about 2 videos back or 3, it'll show the teardown of this thing. There's a reason I'm putting this on, carburetor on, because I kind of want to check dry compression on it before I ring seat. Give me an idea of where we're at. Alright, she pulls over good and smooth. Let's do a compression test on it, and I've not put any oil in that cylinder or anything. It's bone dry. Just want to kind of see where things are at. These things, the big bore, are typically really fun to pull over. I've got I think a D handle here I picked up. We'll see. Those do kind of help. And I don't know if I've ever advanced timing on this saw or not. I'm sure I have, but that's something we can check out in another video. On 0, let's give her, I don't know. Yeah, she's about like any other one. My God, that's pretty good not to have a ring seat or anything. I said in the last video I would expect 180, 185. We got 175 right now. That's pretty good. That's just dry, one ring. It's never been started. She'll pick up a minimum of probably 10-15 psi, so this thing with that exhaust roof, that high exhaust roof, is gonna pull pretty good even with that high exhaust roof. There'll be people disagree, but once that thing picks up, you guys seen it on the gauge and it was leaking back down. That thing will be close to 200 PSI once it's all said and done, and I'd shown the squish band in the other video and said maybe I thought that it was copied after something someone had machined and ported, but they just, I don't know why they don't make the skirts longer on those. As long as it's a 660 case or a later 066 with the poly flywheel, a 56mm piston will fit down into the cases. The older ones with the short tank, yeah, you gotta split the cases and open those up, but on these, especially these kit saws, they fit. Okay, so the muffler, it's already been opened up, gasket matched. It's actually a little bigger than that exhaust port, truthfully. The inside port's been opened up, screen removed. And there's an OEM 066 muffler. That's what they have to breathe through from the factory. Honestly, on a handful of those saws I've done, what I would do is just drill a couple holes on the front of that baffle, and they seem fine, seem to breathe okay. And I've done some where I cut the whole front section of that baffle out. There's a lot of them, to get the spot welds out, can be a freaking nightmare. And here's something I like to do. It's just a little tip. You don't have to do it, but it might save you some headache. Get your 2 screws that go down here. And especially if the cylinder has a bunch of machine work and you've lowered it, which you'll have to open these holes up regardless if you've done that. But I'll start those and then come up here, and you want to look in, and I'll try to align that the best I can. But like I said, this one's actually larger than that port by a little bit, which means that port could have been opened up a little more. I got my hand in there holding it straight. We got that one snug. That looks pretty good. Looking pretty good. I think it should have a nice loud bark to it, guys. I mean, it's 99 cc's and some change, I think. Most people just call them 100 cc's. I think when you do the big bore on the 395 XP, it actually is exactly 100 cc's, I think. And I'm going to get into a project similar to that. You guys will just have to see. If you're into that, I've got some pretty cool projects in my head, some hybrids I want to do. We'll just have to see how everything turns out. If we can get these videos to get about double or triple the views they're getting, it'll really help the channel out a lot. And here's the muffler cover we're using. Highway makes one of these. The Duke has his version of it. It adds a port to the front of the muffler. It's not a real big port, but it opens things up, lets the heat out. They have a nice sound to them. I think this is the one that was actually on my 064 when I put a pipe on it. So this one's actually a Highway, I think. And it keeps the volume of the muffler, unlike a bark box or straight shot or something that's just a flat plate. You still have the factory volume of your muffler here with the port added in the front. It really similar to how a factory 026 is done. I think the 260s were somewhat different. I've got some of those covers here, but I like the 026 cover because it's really easy to open up and modify. Get online, buy some steel hardware port slots. You can get those for about as much as they charge for a box of aftermarket bolts now. We'll go out here and junk out some carcasses just to get some screws, but I had to put a medium sized one over there. It may have been what come out of it, who knows. Tell me that ain't stripped. No. Just... there's the muffler. Just spark plug. Gosh, guys, I hope you know how to put a spark plug in. I'll tell you what. Let me pump a little bit of engine assembly lube down in the cylinder now. And just pump it over a few times with the plug out right quick. Or we could go through the carburetor too. I use STP oil treatment. It's something my old shop teacher back in school, people loved to buy that expensive engine assembly lube, and he said, boys, just get, that's what he called everybody, just get you a bottle of STP oil treatment. I think I've got mine right here. That's what I'm talking about. I'm just going to start that. Not really snug it up because we got two more to start and put in. There we go. And you want a short one up here for sure. Reason being is if you got one that's too long, it will go down and it will stop your flywheel dead in its tracks and you'll think the saw's locked up. I learned that long ago on the first one of these I ever fooled with. Thought for sure it screwed something up. Alright, plug wire in. Well, it pushed on awful easy. Let's spin it around. And if I didn't mention it, guys, it is freaking cold here. It's lower than 20 degrees. Some people that might not be that bad, but to me it's cold. With the heater going in here, I'm in insulated coveralls and thermals. I'm burning up, but my feet are cold on the floor, if that makes sense. And I just realized we're getting really, really close to being able to start this thing. Normally, I'd put a layer of grease around that, but ain't really got any in here that I know of. So we're gonna roll without it. You're gonna make sure your switch is gonna work, and I have no idea where there's like a shield that goes under there. It wasn't on it when I pulled it apart, but I remember. I'm gonna have to go to the other shop and get some fuel. I don't know that we'll do any cutting in this video, so everything outside is froze, and I don't know that I want to fool going and digging out a bar and chain. I might have something over here about it. Alright guys, I've got the jets set at like 1 1/4 each. Let's see if she'll bust off and run. It's gonna need a decomp for sure. Oh, kick the decomp out. Beginning to wonder. It's where I put all that oil treatment in it to leave it up. She's really high strung. Got a tack on it. It's probably zipping up close to 15 grand there. And normally, last few big bore cylinders I've done, that was the problem. I was able to get them to where they generated a lot of torque, but couldn't get a lot of RPM out of them. So let's just see how she fires back up. Alright guys, the saw doesn't even have a set of dogs on it. I didn't even realize that, but like I said, this was primarily a milling saw, so we'll have to locate a set another day and get them on it. But this chain is so. It's been ground, but it got a load of wood on it or so we'll just see. This wood's really hard. It's froze, as you can see. It's like probably 10 degrees out here. But we're gonna give it a run. Well guys, I think for now that'll work. We'll put some time on her and see how she does, but some pretty good chain speed in that hard wood. No doubt in my mind, if I had a set of dogs on it, I could lean and pull on it. I pushed on it pretty hard a couple of times, and it seems to take whatever you want to throw at it and has some killer RPM on the cut. So far so good. Anyway guys, y'all have a good one.